Hi, I'm Julie Hanson from Just Do Property. I'm here today with John Davis from Hedge Property Group. Hi John, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good, yeah, very good, thank you. Okay, so let's get
down to it.
Straight into it, yes.
Not waste time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was looking at the IPD reports actually yesterday. As you do, you know, and it stated that residential property has represented the best real return since December 2000 against everything, equities, bonds, commercial, everything. Do you think it's a good vehicle for investors?
Well, it can be a good vehicle for investors. Like all things, you just have to take more than just the word property into account, because if you buy the wrong property in the wrong area, then the sort of location sort of maxim comes in, and therefore you've got to be careful. So therefore, property bought at the right price and therefore in the right location that you can rent. Here we're talking about actually making money from property, not living in it as a home, which is so different. So therefore it's important. I think the rules are, first of all, if you can buy at a discount to the current market, there's got to be a good target to aim for. But more importantly is the rental income you're going to derive from that, because a property is not an asset, it's a liability until such time as the income you're going to get in is greater than the cost of ownership.
Absolutely.
And people just buy property believing that they're always going to make money purely because of the growth in the market. Now, if the market doesn't grow for the next number of years, 2, 3, 4 years, or just doesn't move at all, then you've got little to show for your capital investment. In fact, you maybe have a negative return by the time you take in inflation. However, if you're generating a healthy cash flow profit from it, then of course you're then looking at your return on capital as interest, which is far greater.
Yes.
So the rules are, make sure you are buying the right property in the right area and you have a clear strategy for letting it at a profit. That's the key. And if prices do dip or do move, you're still making money. Because again, you only realise a profit or realise a loss when you actually sell.
So you need to have a cushion around your investment.
Correct, and you need to take a long-term view. You know, it's not a short-term strategy, because again, people talk about average price increases. There is no such thing as an average, as we all know. And in other words, it's not a straight line graph. So if you take from 1990 to the year 2000, it wasn't, oh yes, property rose by that amount every single year as an average. It doesn't do that. It tends to go along, shoot right up, dip some, and then maybe take a second dip. But therefore it's knowing when to buy. You don't buy, if you think, at the top. You look to buy probably down towards the bottom. Unfortunately, none of us know when that's going to be. We can all take a guess, but we don't know. So therefore, general rules, if the lenders themselves are reasonably happy lending against it, then you should take some confidence from that, because again, they have independent valuers, they have more information than you and I would. So if they're prepared to lend against that particular property, therefore it may be sensibly priced, but the key thing is what they wouldn't necessarily know is how lettable it is. That's down to your own skill and judgment. But you must always buy with that in mind.
Okay. And you're talking about lenders. I know that Precise Mortgages in Paragon and going back into the market, and Mortgage Works have just brought out the 80%. Can you comment on that?
Well, again, that's good news for us as property investors. It means that the people who are or we rely upon to actually sort of fund the whole property acquisition process are getting more confident. They have to lend to make money, fact. However, their loan to value does tend to sort of lend you an idea of where they are going. But there are paradoxes in the market, because you then have the Mortgage Works right now, as of June this year, are increasing the rates to 80% loan to value. BM Solutions hasn't copied them just yet, remaining at 75.
Right.
And it's interesting that all of the Lloyds group have not moved at all. And in fact, Lloyds Bank itself is now looking to do away with interest only altogether. So therefore, again, so you have almost sort of paradoxical views on the market right now. I think everybody's got this sort of breath held until the middle of June when we have the new budget, just to see what that's going to bring out, and what's the supply of money going to be, what's the housing policy going to be. So there are a number of things. I think everybody's just hanging on for 1 second just to see how bitter that pill is going to be before deciding what they're going to do. Because like all things, you have those people who believe the market's going to fall and those who believe the market's going to rise.
Yes.
And that's all market forces. some will be right, some will be wrong.
What's your view on that, John?
It's going to be fairly flat for the next sort of 12 months, 18 months. Not necessarily across the whole of the UK. Again, a mistake made by people is believing the figures they read stands for the whole of the UK. No, it does not. I mean, if you go into just the micro areas of the UK, forget London, which is all by itself, then the other parts of the UK where, for example, in the Midlands, you have Solihull and Sutton Coldfield are certainly, you know, sort of outside of the, what we would call Birmingham, because they're outside of Birmingham, they're in the West Midlands, you know, these affluent areas likely to recover much more quickly. You move over towards, like, sort of Doodle, as it's called, or whatever, and that is going to take a little while to recover. Anywhere where there's heavy manufacture is going to take a while to recover because of the industries that have been hit hardest. And again, if you go to the northeast towards Leeds, you've got Harrogate, again tends to have its own sort of
pockets.
Absolutely. So again, so it is important to know that. So therefore, what you should be looking for is, I suppose, areas that you believe will show a good sign of recovery reasonably soon, as opposed to those that have already recovered.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So it's getting them at the right moment to have the right
You're looking for some uplift in what you're doing. Yes. And if you're in it for the very, very long term, then of course you can carry on buying the bargains, but realise you are going to wait probably 4 or 5 years before you see any real movement in that sector. Because those prices in the main were fueled by the buy-to-let frenzy of the last 2 and 3 years. So, and in true economics, it's the first-time buyers who actually stimulate the market. So over the last number of years, we've had a extra stimulus, which is the buy-to-let frenzy, not the first-time buyers. Yes, you know, that's certainly, for example, in Northern Ireland, where prices more than doubled, and then the boom burst and went back to where they were, so they lost nearly half their value. Leaving a lot of people nursing a lot of bad debt.
I'm sure, absolutely. So how would you advise an investor to actually formulate their strategy?
Right. Okay. Well, first things first, you can't invest without knowledge. As you know, I deliver many seminars across the UK to would-be investors and inexperienced investors.
Yes.
And the one challenge I believe that most people don't address is their lack of knowledge. Or they're trying to do everything by themselves. You know, and again, you've got to be careful because the advice that was shared from other people by third-party reference isn't necessarily right as well. As Just Do Property, I know your portal is first class because there is so much education put on there by people who are willing to give away that information, and I think everybody should start there first, which is get that education around you, try and decide what it is you want to do, because I mean people normally fall into sort of 3 categories. We joke about it's the landlord, and the landlord is a hands-on landlord, will normally have an estate car, because in the back of the car you'll have copper piping, a welding kit, you name it, because he wants to be a landlord. He knows his tenants by name, what they do, he's a landlord. And then you have the sort of investor, and the investor typically doesn't want to know the tenant, typically will use a management company for it, and has income coming from other sources, and therefore has the money to invest, and therefore taking no return on that investment. And then you have the third end, which is the trader, who normally wears dark glasses and drives a BMW, who property trades, you know, and therefore they're looking to actually try and match up property deals with various buyers and so forth. So it's deciding what you're going to be. So if you have no money whatsoever, first thing is don't jump in. So this is not a way of getting rich quick, you know. Sort of, if you have insufficient capital, you must work and join someone who has got.
So like a joint venture with.
Correct. I know my friend Simon Zucchi runs particularly good sort of seminars and meetings around the country on a monthly basis. I know you log on or put onto your website of where they are, how they are. A great place to come and meet other people who are looking at property where you may be able to do a joint venture as well. Try and do it by yourself can be hard work.
And quite lonely as well sometimes, I think, isn't it?
Very.
In the world of property.
Samaritans would do well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I like all things, but people tend to be embarrassed to ask the questions.
Yes.
You know, I think that if people were just a little bit more forthcoming with what they don't really know and prepared to ask about it, then they would make less mistakes.
And move faster as well, probably.
Correct.
Great stuff, great stuff. Well, that's great. Thank you very much, John, for that.
Pleasure.
We shall leave it there, but if you want more information, please log on to the Just Do Property portal. Thank you.
Thank you.